You have already explained the difference between uh, yajna and karma yoga. It is it is as good as it's one. Uh, I have a question with regard to destiny and fate.
Yeah,
How
right. So the question now is, there is karma, it's my karma, that my karma is there. This is our standard Indian way of pointing to karma. Very interesting. Look at all these behaviors in India. In America, you go and do like this, they won't understand what you're talking about. Why should somebody hit your head like that? That's a problem. So this karma, often translated as fate. So now we have to define what fate is, because we are getting into technicalities here. And only when we define fate and we define karma, then only we can say whether these are equal or not equal, same or not same. Karma we know now. What is karma? Karma can mean action. Karma can mean the result of action. Okay, result also of action also sometimes called karma. When I say karma, it is the result of my actions, right? Not your actions, my actions only, result of my actions. Okay, so karma phalam, in other words, karma phalam also means karma, and specifically adrishta phalam. Punya and papa are adrishta phalam, correct? Unseen results of actions are called karma, which the Vedas tells us. Okay, this is karma, karma phalam. What about fate? What is our understanding of fate? When we say fate, what do we mean really? What do we mean? So Girishji, go ahead and explain. Try to say what you mean by fate. What do you understand by fate?
fate is something which is predetermined.
Fate is something that is predetermined. Okay?
Maybe because of the Sanchita karma, the previous karma.
Papa.
Yeah, fate is predetermined. Now, remember, it's an English word. You are saying fate and then maybe it is Sanchita karma. But how will somebody who is not in the Vedic tradition, but who knows English well, like an American or a European or a British person, what will that person how will that person define fate as? That person doesn't know any karma and all that. Karma is only meant for the Vedic people. Other people, they don't believe in karma. Okay, so fate, something that happens to you, yeah, predetermined. Okay, if you can say that, and often something that you don't want, right? Undesirable. Nobody says I love my fate. Nobody says that. They don't say that. So this has fated to happen, like that they use fate. Something good happens, they don't use the word fate. Some lottery ticket, they don't say fate. It was my fate to get $1 million. Nobody says that. I don't know why they don't say that.
That is destiny.
Okay, the destiny. Okay, destiny, slightly better word, more broader context. Destiny, both good and bad. Okay, now so their fate means I am fated to experience this, and this tragedy happened. That is my fate. That cause of the fate in the West is God. God did this to me. Okay. Now tell me, karma phalam. Who is the cause of karma phalam? Yes. In Vedic culture.
Self.
God is doing it?
Ourself. Yeah.
Karma phalam, that account belongs to me, to the jiva. So whatever happens, it's all, really speaking, my own asking. And okay, many factors are involved, but karma phalam, that papam or punyam is fructifying in a particular way. And therefore, because that whatever I experienced was really speaking responsible, how do I say it, was caused by me. I am responsible for what happens, right or wrong. I don't judge myself. Judging is not there because we don't control so many things. and therefore we don't judge ourselves. But fate means what? Somebody else using a remote control button, they are doing this to me. Correct? Why did God do this to me? That feeling will not be there here in our culture. Karma. Something happened in the past janma, something I did, whatever, I'm paying for it now. See, I'm paying for it now. Look at that. I did not pay it when I was supposed to pay. I'm paying for it now. Clean. Therefore, karma is not fate. Correct? Most books will say karma is fate. Karma is fate, they will say. No. We make it clear to our children and so forth. Karma and fate are not identical at all. It appears identical, but it's not identical because the cause, the origin is different. Fate is attributed to somebody else. Karma is attributed to myself. That is the difference between. That's why we don't use those words destiny, fate, and all that in our context. We need to be clear about it. Yeah, Girishji?
Very good, very clear. Very clear.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you, thank you.
Okay, Sundariji, you had a question?
No, it's not a question. I just happened to find two lines from Manikavachaka Peruman. Munnai Padampurutkum, Munnai Padampurule, Pinnai Pudumaikum, Perthuma Petriene, which means the things which we have seen before, even before that you existed, and all those things that is going to come after that also, you have got it already. Very beautifully said by Manikavachaka.
Manikavachaka, yeah. So, so they are restating.
You asked about the knowledge, whether it is created or so he very clearly says it is existing. It is always existed in Ishvara. So nobody creates.
Yeah.
So you had this.
It's an important vision. That's what provides sanctity. That's why for us everything is sacred. Otherwise, pagan. You're all pagan because you're all pagan worshippers. Because you worship idols, you worship trees, you worship snakes, and you worship all kinds of stuff. I'll worship you also if you want. I have no problem with it. And because you have to, because you can't put up with these kinds of people. So somehow you have to make him run away from you. So you have to give him some arguments. Okay, do you want me to worship you? I have no problem. I'll worship you. And yes, let him run away from you. And so labeling this pagan and all that, because sanctity is not there. God is somewhere else. I am here, and he's controlling the strings and things like that. So that's an entirely different vision altogether. So yeah, Manikavachakam. So all these things are all connected here. So if you go back and look up at Guru Granth Sahib, I'm certain Ek Onkar, because they also Ek Onkar, correct? And I'm certain you'll have the same vision there also.
Exactly. Very beautiful.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hey, Kumarji.
Yeah.
Can you explain the cosmic wheel again?
Yeah. Cosmic wheel. So here Krishna was talking in verses 14 and 15. So how beings are born and so forth. And so that explanation, that how this universe operates. Okay. So beings are formed from food. Okay. And then food is formed from all the natural forces like rains, vrishtyadi. Okay. And then the food is born from what? From, let's go back here. Look at this. So Parjanya, food is born from rains, and then Yajna. Yajna gives rains. See, how does rain come if we say? You have a scientific explanation, correct? And that is one thing. But why it should all work like that? So there, that happens because of your Yajna. Rains happen. Last time, see, Sundariji quoted, the rains come because there is one dharmic person, the rain comes. Like that she said, quoted from, I think, Tiruvasagam. So therefore, Avayar said it. Okay. So that cycle, that human input is there. in every phenomenon that is happening, let's say on earth, your input, the human input is there. So therefore here he says, Yajnat bhavati parjanya. Rains come from yajna, he says. By our all duties, when we do our duties, the rains will come in time. Only when we cut trees and don't plant it somewhere else, then we have problems. Correct? That's the implication here. And then yajnaha karma samudbhavaha ityadi. So we explained all that. All the way to Brahmakshara samudbhavam. So yajna comes from Veda, Veda comes from Ishvara. So that is the cycle. Veda comes from Ishvara, and then Vedas is there, and then it helps me, it guides me in my life to do whatever I am supposed to do, all my duties and all my yajnas and devatas. So next time I'll give you another example. Devata. That's why we recognize Devata in everything we do. All our prayers all have a Devata in them. We will invoke a Devata before Vishnu Sahasranamam. Do you chant, Bhagyaji? Okay. So who is the Devata of Vishnu Sahasranamam?
Mahavishnu.
Mahavishnu, and more specifically, who is the Devata? Who can answer the question? Who is the Devata of Vishnu Sahasranamam?
Narayano Devata.
Asya Shri Vishnur Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Vedavyaso Bhagavan Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Sriman Narayano Devata. You call out Devata is Narayana for what I am going to chant. Narayana is the Devata. Who is the Rishi? Who is the Rishi? Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa Rishi. Bhagavan Rishi. So Vedavyasa is a Rishi. Means that Vedavyasa saw this Vishnu Sahasranama. Was given to Vedavyasa. Not the author of Vedavyasa. He saw it. And Devata is Narayana. Like that, Rudram also. Who is the Devata of Rudram?
Ishvara.
No, there's another.
Devata.
Shiva.
No.
Shiva, and then more specifically.
Rudra.
Asya Shri Rudrajaya Prashna Mahamantrasya Aghora Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Sankarshana Swarupo Yosavadityah Paramapurusha Sayesha Rudro Devata. Aghora Rishihi Rudro Devata. Wherever you go, you will find this Devata will be there. Devata has to be invoked. So that vision, so Bhagyaji, the answer to your question is, the vision is like that. We recognize, when you say Devata, you're recognizing the cosmos. Because when you say Varuna Devata, you're recognizing the entire atmospheric phenomena, correct? That is the cosmic wheel. Atmosphere doesn't necessarily mean atmosphere on top of Earth. Atmosphere is there everywhere. Every planet has an atmosphere. And there might be living beings in other places also. In this universe is too big, you can't decide this is the only place, etc. We don't have enough knowledge to say all that. Okay, so that is the cosmos, correct? That awareness is the cosmos. Being aware of it in our daily life, once in a while in class we can become aware of it. That's okay. But what daily, can you be aware of it daily? Yes, we should come to that point. That is that cosmic wheel, awareness of that cosmic wheel. Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So all the different forms, Ganpati, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, etc. All these represents Devata.
Yes, correct. All represent Devatas. So Saraswati, Devata. So we recognize all knowledge. The minute you talk about knowledge, Saraswati comes into your mind. That is why when you step on a piece of paper, you have to you do this. No other culture you will find this. Only here. This stepping on paper and asking for pardon. It's a good way to confuse our American kids, Indian kids. What are you doing, mom? What did you do just now? What did you do just now?
I have a lot of arguments with my kids about that.
Uh-huh.
I have a lot of
we always said, we always, whenever we did like that, we always said that our daughter, this is our custom, and respect our knowledge from through books and the Saraswati. Don't step on it.
Correct. No, that's good. That's a good explanation, and that's how we learn. Children learn, and
some European countries also have this culture. Like, for example, in Italy, you're not supposed to put your foot on your desk. Okay. I've seen this happen to my colleagues a number of times who are from either UK or US.
So Jai Kumarji, between 14 and 15, the connection is the yajna. That is, I think I'm just putting it together. In 14, we talk about how yajna, is one wheel is there, and the yajna with the Brahma. So I think these are kind of the I guess the intersection points of the two verses.
So you can say intersection, or you can even, it's a continuation.
Continuation. I should say continuation. Yes.
Because in verse 16, continuation. Because verse 16 is going to say evam pravartitam chakram. It's a cycle. He's talking about from Ishvara to Brahma, Vedas, and the Vedas to Yajna to Karma, to human being comes now, Yajna, Karma, and then Karma phalam, that is Parjanya, and then Parjanya onwards, Annam, and then again the same.
Yes. Okay, continuation, right?
Continuation. Yes. Right. Yeah, Haraprasad, then Vijay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. How can you say Prajnanam Brahma is a known knowledge? It is said so in the Vedas. We have Shraddha in the Vedas. We believe in that. So it is not. It is an indirect knowledge.
It is indirect knowledge because
it comes. See, we are believing. We believe in. We have Shraddha in the Vedas, and the Vedas say so. Since we have the Shraddha, it is no. Since we have Shraddha, then it is a direct knowledge, right?
Yeah. So no, what we say is this. We say that there is a belief. Belief means something I didn't understand yet. Belief means what I didn't understand yet, that I accept to be true. I accept whatever is said as true because because it's not understood yet. It's a belief. If I say something is true, but I can't really prove it. Suppose I give you, so you loan me some money, and then you expect me to return it. And it's a belief only because some past background is there, and so no, Jai Kumar will return it back to me. That is your belief. Only when I return it, you can really say, yeah, this fellow is. Until then, it's a belief. Then later on, you will tell somebody, oh, I wish I had listened to you. It's possible. So belief, correct? That's belief. Now, we believe whatever the Vedas says. We believe whatever the Vedas says. Right. That belief converts, that Shraddha in the Veda converts the belief into what we call indirect knowledge. Right. Knowledge, it converts it to knowledge. But it is indirect because I have not seen Swarga,
Correct.
Not seems for direct knowledge means you can stand there and say, oh, this is what the Mall of America, my goodness. Because only then you can say. Until then, like me, I can only talk about Mall of America without actually seeing it. And some of you have seen it. You have direct knowledge, but for me, it is indirect knowledge. Correct? Of Mall of America. Okay. So therefore, we don't have any problem with that. Indirect knowledge. So direct knowledge, when we say, you know it. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 when you say, there is no doubt. You don't have to believe any book. You don't have to put your hand on the Bhagavad Gita and say 2 plus 3 is 5. All this not needed. 2 plus 3 is 5. That's it, period. If you don't know, you can say. If you don't know, you can study, go to school. You can say, or I can teach you, you can say, whatever. That's your choice. So that is direct knowledge. But especially when it comes to Brahma Vidya, you said Prajnanam Brahma. So you're talking about Mahavakya.
Yeah.
So that Mahavakya, can it come in the category of belief or indirect knowledge, or should it be direct knowledge? That is what we're asking. It has to be direct knowledge. It has to be direct. Because it is about you. And it can't be, we can't put it in the category of belief. Moksha cannot be the result of a belief. That's what we're saying. And it must be as clear as 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask later on. So Vijayji, go ahead.
Yeah. So Guruji, karma is actions, intention behind the action, and the result of action. All that we call as karma. But there is also something that, like sometime you mentioned about divinizing the action itself, making the action itself as a divine. Which means, is it not somehow connected to our Swadharma? Like, what are we expected to do as the divine designed us? Ishvara must have created us for doing something, right? So, where would that all fit in? Swadharma, for example. If I am expected to do something as my Swadharma, is that not a part of that whole process of yajna, where I do my role, whatever I am given, to the best of my effort, so that becomes a yajna? Is that also somehow connected to?
Yeah, absolutely. It is connected. It is connected. So it all finally comes down to dharma, swadharma. What should I do at a given moment, at any given moment? And even that thinking that I am supposed to do something at a given moment, even that thinking is a yajna buddhi only. Because otherwise, I will do whatever I like to do. Raga dveshas on one side, dharma adharma on the other side. Correct? And so raga dvesha driven actions, they are not yajna. Dharma adharma driven actions, they can be yajna, not enough. Why not enough? Because Ishvara has to be recognized. Dharma adharma need not be in Ishvara. An atheist also can be a very righteous person. The person need not recognize all this devata and all, need not. Correct? So that person is dharmic, fine, does what is supposed to be done, but he doesn't believe in Ishvara. He doesn't believe in Brahmakshara Samudbhavam. All that need not. He doesn't say, no, I don't need all that. For us, Ishvara is there, all pervasive Ishvara. That is so important. That is actually what gives sanctity to everything in this world. Correct? And that makes it easier for me to see and do and convert all my actions to yajna. So yes, the answer to your question is swadharma is also is yajna. Every action becomes swadharma and every action becomes yajna also. That's why you can't separate the two. So yes, swadharma, once our understanding improves, swadharma and yajna come together like this. And no action I do, every action I do is swadharma, is my dharma. And every action I do is also a yajna. Correct? Previously, it is not like that. because this whole, our culture has to be understood. It's a lot of understanding is required. So I grow, I mature in my understanding. And then everything falls in place. It is like crystallization, you know. All things are all liquid and this and that. So then you crystallize all these things. And then they say crystal, pure crystals, you know, you have to give it some time to grow. And then the crystal forms like that. Like that, we have to.
Yeah, so Guruji, one more thing. So this Devatas also, when we said knowledge, Ishvara, everything is consciousness, or okay, consciousness is one whole thing. So Devatas also are all in the same consciousness, right?
Correct. 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 Exactly. Don't think Devata is somewhere separate. When a rain drop falls on you, you're connected to the Devata. Varuna Devata. Varuna Devata is not somewhere up there. This is the whole. This is why this vision is important. Devata Buddhi we need to bring. And when you do your puja, Varuna Devata is right there in front of you. In that pot, he is right there. So it's beautiful. We can relate to Varuna that way. Varuna is important because children may not look at it like that. Children may say, yeah, they will love, oh, Varuna is there. Yeah, Varuna is there here. Look, yeah, Varuna is there. So I must do this. So like that they will say. But as an adult, we say Varuna Devata is there in this water, and the entire phenomenon is also Varuna Devata. My understanding of Varuna is like that. And so I'm constantly in touch with Varuna Devata. When I feel the cold air on my body, I am Vayu. Vayu Devata should come to my mind. Correct?
So just for the sake of understanding, we are categorizing it as Varuna, Vayu, all. But eventually that whole phenomenon of everything that's happening is that consciousness which has everything. Ishvara, knowledge, and Devatas, everything. Right?
Correct. So, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. When we say everything is Brahma. And that Brahma is not separate from Atma, which is Satchidananda. Therefore, everything is consciousness. Correct. That is the final vision. And it will be easy for us to get to that final vision if we have the vision of Devata. Yeah.
Thank you.
Guruji, one question about direct knowledge when we said about Brahma Vidya, but it is realized direct knowledge. It is not, I mean, Ajnanam is, covering it up, and the realization of the direct knowledge. So what realization is, is the way to achieve the direct knowledge. It's slightly not able to grasp that connection, really speaking.
So what is the difference between realization and understanding?
Understanding, okay. Both require the use of my intellectual faculties to get there. So yes, there is understanding and realization, two different ways of saying the same thing maybe. But realization to me is experiential. Understanding probably is more intellectual.
Yeah. So this is where we need to be a little careful. That's all. And suppose you say, I understand Atma.
Okay.
Now I want to experience Atma.
Okay.
Because you say understanding is intellectual, but I need to experience. Only then I can convert that understanding into realization.
Yes.
Okay. That is a popular thinking. That is a popular idea. But then how are you going to experience Atma? You are Atma anyway. In every experience, there is Atma.
Correct.
And whether you have an experience or you don't have an experience, you are Atma. And Atma, without Atma, there is no experience possible.
Correct.
And when you say, I want to experience Atma,
correct.
Who is experiencing what? So then if Atma is the experienced object, then who is the experiencer?
Correct. Correct. Yes.
So we are trapped,
Yes.
Anirudhji, we are trapped in this idea of experience. And that idea of experience itself is a trap. I'm now making a bold statement here. The idea of wanting to experience is a trap. I've been wanting to experience because that is how my life has been. And I'm always looking for a good experience. I don't want bad experiences, unpleasant experiences. And therefore, now I put Atma in this as in the same category, where it's another object like everything else. And now I want to experience Atma.
Correct.
So I'm trapped. I'm trapped in that same thinking mindset.
Yes.
Experience mindset.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So it will become more clear as we study. So, but that's the thinking here. Huh? Okay. So Vaidya, go ahead.
Yes. So this is something not clear to me because, in the end of the verse 15, there is this therefore. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yagne pratishthitam. So why should there be a therefore there, saying that the Veda abides in yajna? How it's not clear to me.
Yeah, so
very significant statement because there's a therefore in Bhagavad Gita. So
yeah,
it's not therefore logic.
Yeah. So Brahma, see, the Brahma is the nimitta karanam and the upadana karanam. This is the thinking we have to bring here. So we talked about for any creation, you need a conscious entity that creates, that is called nimitta karanam, the maker. Okay, and the maker needs a material to create anything. Two things are needed: maker and material. Both are needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in the creation, in the type of things that we know of, maker and material are not the same.
Right.
They're never the same. So the pot maker uses clay to create a pot and then walks away from the pot. Maker is pot maker, and clay is the material, and out comes the pot, and the pot and the maker are not identical. And so this idea of identicality, the identity between maker and material, this is what we need to invoke here. That is what makes our Shastra very unique.
Right.
So like the dream, where we talked about this example, where the dream is a creation. Who is the creator of the dream? It is myself. Who provided the material for the dream? That is also myself. And because no object is separate from the material from which it is made, pot is not separate from the clay. No object is separate from the material from which it is made. And in this case, in the case of the dream, the material is not separate from me. Therefore, I pervade my dream. I pervade my dream. I, the creator of the dream, pervades the creation called the dream. Okay. We invoke that logic here and says, because Ishvara is the cause of Veda, Veda is the cause of karma, which is the cause of punya, which is the cause of parjanya, which is the cause of annam, which is the cause of human beings. If you put that whole order, well, because we have to invoke that the karanam is nimitta karanam and upadana karanam, material cause also. Brahma is the material cause also. It pervades the product. Brahma, Veda is there in the yajna. Yajna is there in my actions, and my actions are there in my result, and the result is there in annam, and annam is there in the bodies, and like this the cycle continues. Tasmat sarvagatam Brahma. That is the way the mindset has to be different. We cannot use our normal idea of creation here. The effect is not separate from the cause. That is the axiom we use here. Effect is not separate from the cause. Therefore, Therefore, tasmat sarvagatam Brahma.
So you can say yajna is non-separate from the Veda.
Correct. That is it. You must say that is the truth also. Yajna is not separate from the Veda. If you say yajna is separate from the Veda, then immediately, oh, Veda is a book that is there. I am doing my yajna here. What is the connection? They are some two different things. They are not two different things. Veda is there in a book because that is just my way of conceptualizing the Veda. But Veda is not a book.
Right.
That is the thinking here. We need to invoke. Veda is all knowledge.
Correct.
All knowledge is Veda. All knowledge is Veda. Therefore, yajna cannot be separate from the Veda. Nothing is separate from the Veda, in fact. That is our vision.
Guruji, I have one question.
Yeah.
So living beings are born out of food.
Yeah.
And food is born out of rain. But in the end, right, the yajna has to be performed by the living beings, right? So I think we somewhere the creation of universe, I think we have to, I'm trying to better understand the creation here, because living beings has to perform the Vedic, as per the Vedic rituals, we have to perform the yajna. Then only we can get the rainfall, food, then the living beings, right? So somewhere I think I'm missing the cycle, right? The creation, like what does Veda talk about the creation? How the living beings have come into being? Whether devatas were created first? I'm trying to understand that part.
Yeah. So the Srishti Vada, you're talking about the creation. How did this world come about? So yeah, this sloka is not trying to define everything. It's just not trying to tell you what how creation came about. Because this chapter is Karma Yoga. Okay, this chapter is Karma Yoga. So how my attitude should be when I go about my life? What should be my attitude? So therefore, here that idea that I am connected to the universe, I'm connected to that connection is being brought out here. That connection is brought out. And when the connection is seen, then all my actions can be yajna. So that's all that is talked about here. Srishtivada, etc. separate. So that will come in the second set of 6 chapters. First set of 6 chapters in Gita is what? Tvam. You, the human being. Next it is Tat. Then the last set of 6 chapters is Asi, equation. So that is how the presentation progresses. Okay. So even without worrying about how this creation happened, still we can appreciate this Yajna Buddhi, correct? That is the way we take it, Raghavan. Yeah.
But just one, like maybe in separate session, right? Like, can you teach us the daily mantras that we have to recite? Like starting, you talked about the Kara mantra, right? That the early morning we have to recite the mantra. Is it possible, like in a separate session or some PDF documents you can share, which we can follow on a daily basis?
Yeah. So Raghavan is asking an important question, which is, our culture is a prayerful culture. So, and we have prayerful, but with prayers also, very beautiful prayers. In any language, we have so many prayers. So it is useful, it is important for us to know some of the basic prayers. And so Raghavan is asking, can you teach us some of these prayers? So
we did that. We did that before.
Yeah, so I was trying to find the words to say that. So before we started Bhagavad Gita class, I completed a short course, 3-month course called Kirtihi. And it was essentially to answer your question. I never did this. I collected all the shlokas and I said, okay, and then divided it into basic 2-line shlokas to various devatas. And then when are they chanted? What times of the day? When do you chant it? And then all the way to slightly bigger shlokas to some
Meda Sutta.
Meda Sukta we did not do in that Kirti, because Kirti I did not want to bring in Veda Mantra. we were concluded with Dakshinamurti Stotram. Okay. So from small basic shlokas all the way to slightly bigger shlokas, so that every day there are certain shlokas like Guru Ashtakam, like Guru Stotram, Akhanda Mandalakaram is there. Okay. So I covered these things in about 3 months in a set of a dozen or 15 classes. I don't remember now. So let's see how that works. One option, Raghavan, for you is you can look up. It is systematically I taught, and then I provided some documentation also. But it's all taught properly. So I explain every shloka and explain the meaning of it, and we chanted it, and then I moved from one to another, etc. So Ganesha is there, and then Lakshmi is there, and Dakshinamurti is there, Shiva is there, and Samudra Vasane Devi. When you get up, what kind of shlokas you chant? All this I taught. So one option for you, Raghavan, is to look up those videos. Okay. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, I think in playlist, in the same subscription, I can search, I guess. Let me.
Yeah, if you look for the playlist called Kirti, then you can.
Okay.
That is what it is.
Sure. I will look it up now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Jaykumarji, can you repost the link in our WhatsApp group or that Kirti link video?
Yeah. Yeah, Raghavan,
Okay,
can you do
thank
that once you find it?
Yeah, I will do that. Yeah, I will search and I will play.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Go ahead, Narayan.
My question was, is there a difference between prayer and worship?
Is there a difference between prayer and worship? So for that, we have to bring the English dictionary. Because we have to see what English dictionary says prayer is, what it says worship is, and then only we can decide whether there is a difference or not. And there may be, one way to define prayer is you say something mentally. Mentally, I have prayer. Like when you go to the temple, so you pray. Okay, whatever I want, I pray for. That is a prayer, or you chant some mantra as a prayer. And then worship means what you do. It's a act. There is a. Our angas are used. The body is used to do a puja. That is our definition of worship. Worship means it's a ritual, which includes prayer. Ritual includes prayer, but prayer need not include worship. Okay, in this definition, I'm saying. Okay, in this definition of prayer and worship can be considered as a kayikam karma. Means something you do by using flowers, by using all the puja samagris and doing a puja. That is a worship. And prayer can be any form. Can be mental prayer, can be a chanted prayer, and so those two can be prayer. Correct? So it depends on how it is defined. So for us, we have very clear. Kayikam, vachikam, manasam. This is the way we go by. Puja means you know what a puja is. Daily, the puja that you do by lighting the lamp and then putting some flowers and then chanting shlokas or doing an elaborate ritual. That is called puja. Correct? Pujanam. Bhajanam. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Bhajanam. So for 10-15 minutes, half an hour, you do it. So that comes under, I will put it under, bhajanam can come under puja. More than prarthana. So like that. So again, kayikam, vachikam, manasam. Rather than go with puja and worship and prayer. Those are English words which can mean different things to different people. You ask another person the same question, you will get a different answer. Okay. You have to be prepared for a different answer. But understand the basics. Kayikam, vachikam, manasam. Dhyanam. When you do dhyanam, we are actually praying. Because dhyanam involves Ishvara. Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyapara. That is the definition of dhyana. Therefore, Ishvara dhyanam is there. Therefore, that is also worship. Okay? Yeah. 8:15 now, so we should pause it. Can you mute everybody here? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha.